Welcome again. We're keeping it real. Thank you for joining me. I am Aisha Laws, your host, and today I have with me my special guest, Ms. Yolan Pantin.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I had a little conversation with you, but I want you to tell me about how you got on your journey. How did you start your journey? You are a pharmacist by profession.
Yes.
How did this journey start?
Well, let's see. From the time I was about 14, I used to be in Sir Winston Scott Polyclinic Pharmacy because my mother was working there. So I've been around pharmacy since then, which, not to age myself, but that would be about 40 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think I was trying to, I believe, and I stand corrected, that profession is usually dominated by males. As a female, what is that like in that type of sector where you see mainly pharmacists that are males? How do you make your presence? How do you make, is there any tension? How do you manage that?
On the business side, no, because we are all in the same health profession, pharmacy, we rely on each other. So as business owners and as pharmacists, we have, in the information age, we formed our group chats. So we always liaise with each other. We always help each other. We transfer stock where stock is needed and stuff like that. It is a good business to be in, and we all work together. As far as male or female dominated, the classes up to when I went in were more male. And I find now we have a lot more females going into the profession as far as the students. Business-wise, I think it's more male-dominated still, but we do have a couple of young ladies that have stepped up to the fore in the last couple of years.
Okay, so I can go a little back, a little step back a little bit. You said that you basically entered into this thing at the age of 14. When did you decide that this is what I want and I want to start my business? Where did that journey start?
Okay, initially it was never that I wanted to be in pharmacy. I more wanted to be in fashion, but that didn't work out. So because I was in sciences at school at Foundation, it became a natural progression. So my mother had spoken to the then coordinator, Mrs. Proverbs, and she told me to apply, which I did, and I got in. I did the pre-health program at that time. And after that 1-year program, then once you did the appropriate percentage, you were actually automatically sent into your chosen health field. So mine was pharmacy, and I started the following year course.
All right, so we can keep it real now. So you have this vision, you're a pharmacist, you want to start a business, you got to get money. No, I am sure that would have been an easy transition for you as in acquiring the funds. I'm sure that corporate part, the institutions would have been, willing to help you. How was that journey?
Actually, we could step back a bit. I actually didn't even want to own a business. It actually, as the saying would be, it fell into my lap. The pharmacy I was working at closed, and I was told by the doctor that we were working opposite, why don't you go and ask to rent the spot? So I did, got it. Financing. At 26 years old, trying to approach the banks of Barbados was a big deterrent, because I was asked by every single banking institution at that point in time, when your business fails, how are we to recoup our money? That was the question that I was asked by every single bank in Barbados that I took my proposal to.
Wow. No. How do you then gear up yourself or mentally prepare yourself to say, you know what, this is not going to be my reality. I can change this. How do you, because I would assume that is something that could crush anybody. What did you do?
Okay, I am from a family of, I would kind of say entrepreneurs. My grandmother was a person that always did guava cheese, jellies, all those things in order to bring me money. So I always saw the business side of it. And I didn't let it deter me. What I did, because I had paid the down payment, I took, that time it was the cost of manage, so I had a managed card. I went and bought all the material. My uncle helped me with some of the material, and my partner at the time, his father is a carpenter, and he built all my shelves. We put in everything. I was going forward like if I had the money, because I was like, okay, it has to happen. I have made the commitment of paying the rent, so this thing has to work. And then my mother, who was in and still is in the Public Workers Credit Union, she spoke to someone, and I carried in my proposal, and I was asked, how much do you need? At that time, I told them 25,000. I don't know if 25,000 could start any business in Barbados right now, but it did, and I went from there. So the credit union stepped up to the plate for me at that point in time.
So here we are now, on the journey where you have your business, you got your financing,
Yeah.
you got staff now, I assume. How is
Not in the initial
not in
stages,
initial
no.
stages.
No.
So you haven't gotten there yet. But was there a time when you got the money? No, to a certain extent. Did you feel like giving up when things started to get hard?
No.
No
Never.
challenges?
No. Because if you let every little setback stop you, then you will never advance. You have to ride the wave, and when you ride the wave, you would realize it's rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, but then you're going to get to the point that I have overcome the rocky waves, and I'm floating free now. And that's what happened.
Now let's talk about people aligning with your vision and your journey. How hard was that? I mean, obviously you're a professional, but then you have to deal with the people aspect of it. Was it hard to get people who, align with your goals and I'm talking about staff. And when or how did you manage being the manager or being the boss or having to fire, or how do you deal with that aspect of it? How difficult was that?
Well, the way I had laid out the business as in the floor plan, it could be run by one individual. So basically I did that for a while. The hours were long, so then I brought in a cashier. And then the cashier, she transitioned into another business. So it was back and forth about how you were gonna balance it. Then obviously you brought in a pharmacist, and if the pharmacist stayed, or if they went to another business, or if they went and opened their own. So it was always just trying to make sure that you keep everything level, whether you have all the staff you need or not. So that's how it was.
All right, so let me just talk about where you are now. Do you see yourself expanding? Do you see yourself downsizing? Where do you see your business going now?
Well, I initially downsized the end of last year because there were 2 pharmacies, and now we are just having 1.
And how was that for you?
Stressful.
How did you deal with that?
Not very well. Mentally not very well, being that you're closing the one that you started 25 plus years ago. So that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But I had persons telling me it's going to work, you're going to get through, and just keep the faith. And I did, and now everything has leveled out and everything is working. A second location I would love, because the 2 pharmacies actually were initially very close, maybe a 2-minute drive from each other. So I'm looking also then for a location outside of where we are, but also a downstairs location, because our initial location was upstairs, and that no, does not really work in this environment.
So outside of we know that financing is important for running any business.
Yes.
I want to talk about COVID, all right? I want to talk, I mean, because the general, or the Barbadians, or people in general believe that, you know, pharmacies would have come out looking at COVID time or whatever. How was COVID for you?
Stressful.
In a good way or a bad way?
Both. Mentally, it was very taxing. Being that in the initial couple of weeks, if you would remember, of COVID, the pharmacies are who were open. We only had short hours. We were closing at 2. You had to close at 2. And it was like people were just like this. Yes, it's the business side of it, but on the mental side, you are just you have to be on the ball all the time. And in the business of pharmacy and healthcare, mistakes can't be made. It's people's lives in your hand. So it was good business-wise, yes. I found a lot of people found the pharmacy because you had to find somewhere. So a lot of people found us then because we had initially opened the July of 2018 and COVID hit in 2020. So a lot of that brought a lot of people to us that may not have come to us if there were not COVID. So, but mentally, trying to keep on top of everything and stock-wise and stuff, it was hard.
I think I had a little conversation with you when I asked you about running a business 24/7, because I am not an entrepreneur, but I assume that it's hard. It's hard. I know it is hard, but I can't really relate to you because I have the security of a job. No, how do you de-stress? How do you find that balance? What are the things that you do for you?
For me, I turn that business phone off at 10 p.m. I am turning it on at 6 a.m. I am very sorry. I need to sleep because if I don't do that, my phone goes off constantly with messages coming through. I've forgotten to get my refill, or I am putting this in because I don't want to forget that I need something tomorrow. Sometimes those messages come through at 2 in the morning. You're in a lovely deep sleep and that wakes you up and then you can't go back to sleep.
Right.
How do you function? So I have decided that 10 p.m. is my cutoff and I'll start back at 6.
Another question. If you had to have a conversation with your 14-year-old self, what would you tell yourself? What message would you give to yourself, rather?
Go after whatever you want and be firm in your faith. People will be detractors. People will always come and tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, you think that gonna work? It ain't work for the last person. It ain't gonna work for you. But once you know in yourself that it's going to work and you believe in yourself, it will. Don't ever let people be naysayers in your life, because if you let one person bring that negativity, then you're going to let everybody bring that negativity. And then you are going to go nowhere and you're going to watch all your friends and everybody else succeed and you're going to be like, why not me? No, just the negative will always be there, but keep your eye on your prize and you will always get it.
Another question. Now that was the message to yourself. No, I'm sure that there's somebody out there watching who probably pursuing the associate degree in the pharmaceutical studies or thinking about it. What message do you have to that person? Or perhaps the person has completed the course now and they don't know, what should I do now? What next? What next? Obviously they're gonna go into it, but what advice do you have to them?
Look at the options. When I came out, it was either you work for somebody, work for yourself. Nothing wrong with working for yourself. I have no problem with that. But there are now so many more options. Explore them. See which one suits you. Running a business doesn't suit everyone. Working for someone doesn't suit everyone. So explore the options that pharmacy offers and just choose what is best for you.
In terms of mentorship, have you ever thought about being a mentor? Have you ever thought about teaching?
I did it for one term for the pharmacy program, maybe 30 years ago. No, not 30, 20, 22 years ago. I did one course for Mrs. Proppers when she was out of the island. I loved it, but I don't think I would do all of that because the amount of preparation that goes in, you don't have a life now as a business owner, you have less of a life as a teacher.
No, we kept it real earlier and we were talking about the financial institutions. What do you think they can do to make things easier for people who are who have businesses and need help, who want to start a business and need help? What do you think they need to do in order to make themselves better?
Well, I really don't deal with banks unless I have to with my business and getting a checkbook in order to write checks and have my debit card. Because I never had good experiences with the banks, the first or the second business. The second business, I went to the bank that I was banking with for 20 years for the first pharmacy. And I gave them my proposal. I gave my proposal to second, maybe 3, 4 banks. And I heard from none of the other 3, the bank that I am originally banking with for the first pharmacy, they refused me, even though I'm with them for 20 years. So that left a very sour taste in my mouth as far as banking institutions are concerned. There, when I went to FundAccess, the reception that I received, I was like, wow, the banks could learn something here. Because they are more into their bottom line than they are into their clients. So if you're into your bottom line, you don't care about your clients, your bottom line will go because you're not going to get any more clients.
Right.
That's my 2 cents.
In a world where everything is dominated by social media and the internet and as it relates to marketing, how do you keep your business fresh and up to date? Are you that person? Are you guys on Instagram? How do you do the advertising, or is it the name that keeps your business relevant?
Well, right now I would say it's the name that keeps it relevant, but I am starting with a social media person from next month actually.
Fantastic.
Because I see the need to have the social media aspect with your business. So that is where we're starting from next month.
Okay. Was FundAccess able to guide you as it relates to anything like that? Do they have, or your relationship with FundAccess, was it just the financial aspect of it, or was there more that they were able to help you with?
Well, it was definitely the financial for the beginning. Wonderful. I obviously, because I was running the pharmacy on my own to try and keep the amount of spending down, I wasn't able to attend as many of the courses that were offered. But FundAccess helps with everything. But it's just I wasn't able to allocate enough time to do all. So this person was, the young lady that in question that I'll be starting with next month was actually sent to me via one of my customers that I purchased from, that he uses her. So I was like, okay, I need somebody because I can't do the everything.
Right.
So that's one thing with business. You can't do everything. You have to learn to delegate. It's hard when you do it yourself. So if you don't let go, then you burn yourself out.
Okay. So thank you for all of that. Where do you see yourself and your business in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I would like to find the second location because I think our brand, the way we operate, was needed. So that is what I am going to be concentrating on, looking for a location within that time, yes.
Okay. So we see a second location coming up. We see you also continuing with the good work that you're doing at your current location. Ms. Pantin, I want to thank you so much for all that you have shared with us today.
You are most welcome.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.